Hi friends, this is Margarita. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel. I wanted to continue where I left off. This video is way overdue, but in our last video we were talking about art journaling and the steps to art journaling. And in the first of this series you saw me create these really quick backgrounds using different paints and stamps and things like that. So I'm going to start with some mark making. This will be my next step in completing my page. Acrylic paint is probably the best for this, but you could also use Sharpies, you could use paint pens, you could use, let me think, crayons, art crayons, pastels. Just with pastels, you know, they do tend to smudge, so you might need to spray them with a fixative before you close your book. But being that this is like a quick sort of practice art journal, I don't know that you'd want to do all that, but yeah, I think that any cheap acrylic paints would be great for this. I'm using a Dylusions Lemon Zest Yellow, and you can see on the left side I created some rectangles with my brush strokes, and then on the right side I made some thick yellow stripes. I'm now going to pull out some of my Stabilo crayons and these gelatos to continue making some marks on my pages. And mark making can be very therapeutic. It's something that is good to do just for practice. I actually have a book that I just do mark making in. I do find it very relaxing. And I'm going to just make some marks on these pages as my next step after adding some paint. But like I said, you could use crayons, you could use lots of other materials to create marks on your papers. You can use black marker or pen, pretty much whatever you have. So on the left side I added some sort of scratchy marks and then some scribble marks. On the right hand page I am adding some sloppy circles, and I'm gonna continue adding little marks here and there using different colors and contrasting colors so that everything stands out and it's nice and bright. That's just my personal style. And then I do also like to add a little bit of black detail, but I do come back to that later on. And then once all of these little marks are complete to my liking, I feel like I'm pretty good with the marks, I move on to the next step, which would be adding elements to it. Now I'm going to pull out these Faber-Castell Pitt Artist brush pens, and I'm going to continue my mark making. You could use gel pens for this. You could use Sharpies. You could use any fine point marker to make marks like these. I'm trying not to be too deliberate. I know I want certain things to be like around the corners, sort of diagonal, here and there, you know, I don't want to fill up one whole side and not the other. So I wanted to have some balance, but I also don't want it to be symmetrical. I used my heat tool very quickly to make sure that all my paint was dry. And I'm now gonna grab some pieces of collage paper. This is just a piece of scrapbook paper that I am going to adhere to the top of this layout. And then I grab all the little fodder that I made in the last video. I did make this little dragonfly that I painted or colored with some markers. And before I adhere it down, I'm gonna use a paint pen, a black paint pen, to add more marks. Like I said, I do like to add a little bit of black detail to my work. And so here I'm just having a hard time getting the ink to come out because I was scratching a little too hard, and so the paint wasn't flowing as well as it should. But you know, these things happen. We move on. And I'm continuing to make more marks. And then once I am done with the marks, then I will adhere my dragonfly. And to glue my items down, I'm using silicone glue. I find that the silicone glue is really good with mixed media because it glues down pretty much anything. It's really good with sticking different materials together. And so I find that it works really well. So here I'm just going to use that silicone glue to glue down my dragonfly. And now that that's down, I'm going to grab some word stickers, and this is going to complete this layout. I like to finish my layout with a title or quote or something like that. And so this says, live your dream with passion. And now I'm going to start on the next page. So I'm looking through my fodder, my little collage papers, and I'm trying to see what goes well, what I might like to use. And I do like this, one of my doodle faces, the one-line faces, and that other painted piece of paper. And now again, I'm adding a little bit more black details to this using my black paint pen. And I create these lines, but as you'll see, I don't like them. So, and this happens sometimes where you do something and you're like, oop, I changed my mind. I'm not happy with that. And you can always fix it. There's always a way to fix it. So instead of using the top right corner for my focal point, I just added my focal point to the bottom right to cover up that, the mistake that I, made. I adhere that down again, and then it is just about ready for some wording. And you could add more details if you wanted. You could add more textured details. You could add things like texture paint, feathers, twine, pretty much whatever you feel would add, the amount of detail that you like, that's to your, taste and your style. For the following page, I'm going to grab one of these Stabilo crayon pencils. I don't know what they're called. I know they're Stabilo brand. And I create these like rectangular shapes. And then using a white paint pen, I'm going to add an outline to those so that they pop out a little bit more. And now I'm using a black, gelato to add some black lines. And then another gelato here to add this focal point of just leaves in this really pretty like coral color. And now another gelato in pink. It's adding some random circles. And now I want to add some textured pieces, something dimensional. I'm looking at my fodder again, and my collage pieces. I end up not finding anything that I like, so I grabbed this sticker sheet and I add a sticker from there that has wording on it as well. And I think it says, "You are my very favorite." And then I thought I wanted to add that, but I end up not adding that. So that completes that layout. Now I'm moving on to the next one. And for this one, I went through some of my journaling cards and I found that little cityscape that I thought went well with that background and that one-lined portrait as well. And some wording that came with the same one-line portrait was like a little die cut kit. And then on the left page, I come back to it and I add stickles in aqua to add more aqua to that page. And stickles is basically just glitter glue, so just glitter glue on that. Now I'm going to adhere my elements to the right side page, and I didn't add any markings before I put my elements down, so I'm doing that now as I'm putting things down. I'm going to add some more markings and details. And that's going to complete the fourth page. Well, I do add a few more markings, but yeah, these pages come together really quickly when I work on them in this way. I like to do them in batches, step by step. So, the first step is just creating backgrounds. I kind of let that sit for a while, and then when I come back to it, I have something to work off of. So it's not just a white blank page. And then I add more elements and markings and things like that, and then some dimensional pieces to complete each layout. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll give this a try, and I will see you guys in the next one, hopefully sooner rather than later. Bye.